good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you have the opportunity to join me. I'm Dr. Jan, and this is Russell Institute of Learning Sidebar Education. The video today, right now, is a short introduction. My sister works as a radio host, and she interviewed me a week ago, and we were looking at what are the needs for students, parents, and teachers as they get ready to go back to this new school year. So it's a 15-minute video, soundtrack. It's an audio, but I have put it with some pictures and scriptures of children and parents and what we are needing to do. So at the bottom in the description, I do have the link that if you are wanting to listen more to the radio station, it's Hope 100.7 or 93.7 The Light, where my sister hosts and does other activities. So that's in there. A brief overview of the actual interview is given. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I please do ask that you share, comment, like on this. And again, we are going to get moving in trying to be encouragement to parents, teachers, and students throughout the school year through Russell Institute of Learning. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.
This is FYI, a public affairs program of Strong Tower Christian Media on 93.7 The Light and Hope 100.7.
I'm your host, Jan Ware, and I'm delighted to have with me Dr. Jan Ware Russell. Dr. Jan is PhD in Leadership and Change, and so we'll have to find out a little bit more about that. She's also my sister, so I'll let you know that too. So I'm delighted to have Dr. Jan on with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Joy. How are you today?
I'm good. Good to have you here. And I couldn't think of anyone else that I could really tap to go deep and get our listeners prepared for what's coming up. Everyone's looking at getting ready to go back to school, and I want our listeners to have ideas and thoughts that will prepare them, the parents, the students, the teachers, even if it's spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, and physically, getting ready for school. So, Jan, first off, how long have you been involved in education?
Well, I had to look that up this past June for reports turning into our district. It is 42 plus years I have been in education, and my mouth just dropped. I couldn't believe that many years has passed.
Wow. Been a teacher, you've been in various roles in education, and a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge. And so I'd love for us to just talk about that. What are ways that our parents, teachers, students, how do we get prepared to get ready for going back to school?
Well, I would say the first thing, and that I'm seeing with parents and people I'm encountering here in our community, please continue to enjoy the rest of your summer. You need to make sure that you have fun, you are breathing, you are sleeping, and just enjoying family time. I think that to me has been one of the difficulties of education in however many years, that children don't get to have the time to just play and be kids. So don't take too much of the summer trying to worry yet about school. However, in being said, I did saw one of my students who I will be having again this fall, and I said, "Are you reading every day?" She had that little shocked look and shy on her face, and I'm trying. I said, well, all we wanted is at least 15 minutes a day. So I think the biggest piece of education over the summer is keeping children engaged in reading, finding something that they're interested in, whether it's the animals or it's the solar system, but something that they like and not drudgery. And so reading is a great way to keep your mind engaged.
So as you get ready to go back to school, there's a lot. We've come through COVID. We've come through different things. We've even had the sad accounts of school violence. So there might be some anxiety even for the parents as their children are getting ready to go back to school. And what would you share with them?
Well, I think that has to come under our spiritual aspect. And I know that from the children, let's go with the children first, of what I would hope parents are going to get to offer to their children, what I hope to get to offer, because in our school district, we're still allowed to talk about God and Jesus, and that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are in God's image. Because I think a lot of the students who are doing some of these mass shootings or bullying, they don't have a good self concept because they don't know that they are made by God. Unfortunately, over the summer, my reading has helped me to realize how many people don't believe in creation and they believe in evolution and that we just came from a little, glob. Well, then you behave like a little glob. So I think our biggest thing is starting with our students to help them know their value is not in what they do or the grades that they get. Their value is because they are created in God's image. And then that does help us to breathe. If we can come from that standpoint and everything that they tackle, because not every child is going to be great at math and not every child is going to be great at, grammar. So that doesn't create who they are. That may sort of be a test at a moment in time, but they're who they are is in Christ. So I think the biggest thing is I'd like parents to spend more time loving on their children and helping them know that they are fearfully and wonderfully made.
We're going to come back, and I would love to find out what the children should be doing. Kind of get an idea with that. Currently, we're talking with Dr. Jan Ware Russell. She's a PhD in leadership and change. If you'd like to find out more information about Russell Institute of Learning, she's also the CEO and founder of Russell Institute of Learning. You can email Dr. Jan at russellinstituteoflearning@gmail.com. Now, when you contact her, mention in the subject line radio or the interview so Dr. Jan will know that you listened to this interview. So, Dr. Jan, what should the children be doing as we get ready to go back to school?
Well, again, I think this next comment is between parents and children. And it is funny because now my children are all grown, that they are doing some of the things I did, which is like they asked me, why do we have to do this? And now they're doing it. They just see that within the week and a half before school starts, we really, as a family, need to start practicing our time schedules. What time are you going to be getting up? What time will you be eating breakfast? Trying to get our bodies back into a routine, because often during the summer, you're staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And parents, if you don't think your kids aren't staying up till that late, I'm telling you, they do, because they tell us teachers, they do. So getting them back into a regular routine, make sure that they are eating healthy fruits, vegetables, protein, and not the high chips and sugars and items, because that in itself, I can tell in a school day, the kids come pretty well ready to learn in the morning, but they have a break, then they have lunch, and there's almost no ability to focus by afternoon. So I'm encouraging students at this point, depending on their age, they need to take that responsibility. It can't always have to be from the parents. So children, I think the biggest thing is starting to be self-responsible and self-motivated, that their education does matter.
Wonderful. Now, as we look at the teachers, what can we share with teachers as they're preparing? And they have such a short window. They stay longer than the children, and usually they go back before the kids come back. So, speak to our teachers right now.
Well, I am going to say that we have more impact on those students than we could ever imagine. And our goal is, I'm talking for myself, is being a lot more even tempered. And I don't know if that comes with age, but I laugh a lot more, not at the students, but some of the activities that they come up with is like, are you kidding? And instead of getting mad, I mean, there's discipline and things that need to come. But when we can keep the atmosphere light, the students are more willing to try, because we have to pick our battles. If we make a wall and it's a war between me and you, not that they're going to win, because I keep telling myself I'm the adult and I win. But we don't want to create enemies. And so let me give you two things on that. First of all, yesterday I ran into three previous students that I had maybe 5-7 years ago. They're all now graduated from high school. And one is going to go into, I think she said, dental hygienist. Another is working on her nursing. And then the other young man, you know what? School really wasn't for him, but he had the biggest smile on his face. And I just was so proud of all three of them, just happened to be in the community. And I'm hoping that, again, my smile and my conversation with them and sort of my ooh-eyeing over them will inspire them for the next month, 2 months, or whatever, because what the students are facing in this world, we may be the only positive face or person that they come in contact with. So as teachers, as much as the content is important, I believe creating an atmosphere where they feel accepted and are gaining all of that information is what's really important.
We're talking with Dr. Jan Ware Russell. She's a PhD in leadership and change and CEO and founder of Russell Institute of Learning. And what would be maybe your top takeaways as our parents are getting ready to go back to school, the children are going back to school, and the teachers? What would be your overall, maybe top three takeaways?
Well, one, I'm not in your school or your school district, but I would hope that the parents, student, and teachers feel like they're a team. And I believe that when there are no hidden secrets between those three, and there are some things you may not talk about in front of the child, but when the child knows that there is communication between parents and the teachers, and that there's nothing that can't be said that the child couldn't sit in on, their behavior is much better. They also have support. There are so many children who are going to school who do not have parental support. And that's not always the fault of the parent. Some parents are having to work 2 jobs, both parents working 2 jobs, and they go to Grammy or they go somewhere for a babysitter. And that is even more important for parents to be in touch with the teacher and to create a communication. And I'm just really planning for myself of a parent conference, because I teach grade 5 and 6, and I'm just going to say, for anybody who's out there teaches 5 and 6, our children are starting to move in their hormones and their parents aren't quite ready for that. And so I want to have a discussion with the parents. So don't avoid it. We won't push it, but don't act quite so surprised when that all starts popping out.
Well, Dr. Jan, when you think about that, it's challenging, but what I hear you saying is communication is key on all levels. The parents with the children, children with the parents, and then also with the teachers as well.
Yes, I would say communication is the key. And one of the statements that I have long used, we should be in the listening to understand. Listen to understand, not just to be understood. Too often when we're listening, we've already got our answer prepared and we never heard what that person said. We might have missed an emotional little tremor in their voice or something in their face. So communication is more than the words. And I know you and I have talked about that. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. But there's also the component of listening.
So we have about 30 seconds. Can you give our listening audience getting ready to go back to school some hope?
Oh, yes. I believe the children of today are our future, no matter what they have had to go through because of COVID. And in our area, we had Hurricane Dorian. God is able to do abundantly above all we could ask or think. And when we bring our children to the throne through prayer, God is faithful. He is faithful to complete that which is started. And so we're wanting to plant the seed of love and hope within our children because they are our future and they're going to be taking care of us one day soon.
Wow, Dr. Jan, thank you so much. We've had the delight to talk to Dr. Jan Ware Russell, PhD in Leadership and Change. She's a CEO and founder of Russell Institute of Learning. And if you'd like to contact Dr. Jan, you can email her at russellinstituteoflearning@gmail.com and make sure to mention the interview or radio when you contact Dr. Jan. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Jan.
Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed our conversation.
This is FYI, a public affairs program of Strong Tower Christian Media on 93.7 The Light and Hope 100.7.